It is hard to think that something paranormal could have happened in such an inhospitable place as it is under the water, but it has happened several times. However, the fact of something happening to a submarine is incredible, but it happened. That's what you will watch in this video, where we are revisiting some of the most frightening mysteries happened to some unfortunate submarines. These are the 6 strangest mysteries ever happened to submarines. Number 6. UB-65, the Cursed Submarine. The UB-65 was one of the 105 German submarines involved in World War I, but it is said that a number of strange facts happened inside the UB-65 that make it to be considered as a cursed submarine. History says that the first accident took place even before it was launched into the sea at a shipyard in the city of Bruges, Belgium. A man was working on the submarine deck when suddenly he was crushed by a loose beam whose anchors were broken. In 1917, during its first mission, 3 crew members drowned in the engine room. Mysteriously, they didn't come out of there, as it was later verified that they could have done so at any time. Later, during another mission, Captain Marin Schell ordered the crew to close all the portholes in order to dive shallow. All obeyed except for who inexplicably walked straight and jumped into the screws. He was immediately grinded. As they were in the middle of a mission, they had to continue with it in spite of the death of his friend. But things get worse. The submarine had to be 10 meters below the surface, but some minutes later it suddenly sank to the abysmal depths. The crew stayed 12 hours under the water, and because of the enormous pressure, water started entering the submarine and level oxygen running out. It was never known what happened then. Only 12 hours later, the submarine ascended again as if by magic. Unfortunately, 2 members of the crew died due to lung damage. Several legends have been told since then. Members of the crew claimed in the war court that they had seen the ghost of the people who died inside the submarine. They also denied to enter there again. Finally, in spite of the objections, the members of the crew were sent on their last mission, where they came across an American submarine. While Americans prepared for the attack, the UB-65 went off for no apparent reason. Number 5. Submarine vs. Sea Monster. After World War I, a captain of a German war submarine left us his testimony of something extremely strange. It was 1915, just the middle of the war. His ship was the U-28 Schmidt submarine. During a mission just to the south of the coast of Ireland, they encountered a British steam freighter head-on. It was loaded with vehicles for war, including many expensive trucks and jeeps. Without a second thought, the captain ordered to open fire against the freighter, opening a hole so large that the ship sank almost immediately, taking the 61 crew with it. Half a minute after it sank, there was a giant underwater explosion, which threw a pile of debris on the U-28 Schmidt, causing serious damage. The Germans thought it was due to some kind of explosive on board that ship. But the strangest thing was that among the rubble thrown, a huge reptile similar to a crocodile also appeared. He was about 20 meters tall, had webbed feet, and a triangular head. The creature fell into the water, writhing in pain and terrorizing the submarine's crew. After dying, he sank with the rest of the ship. Number 4. USS Trepang. One could say that encounters with UFOs is a matter of airplanes, or even of people, but not of submarines. But what happened to the USS Trepang in 1971 tells us otherwise. The submarine was on a mission between Iceland and the Norwegian island of Jan Mayen. Officer John Klika was looking through the periscope when he suddenly detected a strange cylinder-shaped object that seemed to be floating above the water. Using the same periscope, he took a photograph of the object using a camera. According to data from all over the world, similarly shaped objects have been seen around the ocean since 1986. Number 3. Ghosts inside a submarine. The USS Kavala is an American submarine that participated in World War II and survived to tell its story. It is currently docked at Seawolf Park in Galveston, Estados Unidos. It took part of an exhibition for a time until Hurricane Ike in 2008 left it seriously damaged. But before these events, people entered the USS Kavala claimed to see and hear strange things. About a decade ago, paranormal investigation specialist Richard Smith decided to venture inside the submarine along with its infrared camera and microphone. What he discovered was incredible. Just a minute after entering, the microphone began to pick up strange sounds. First, a whispered but furious voice was heard repeatedly calling someone named Frank. Later, already in the cabin compartment, the following was heard. "Hey, he walked through. Frank, he jumped off the ship. The submarine." Apart from this and many other single words, it is believed that Frank was someone from the crew who, at some point, decided to end his life by jumping off the ship. Number 2. Submarines abducted by aliens. One more time we face a case of submarine encounters with aliens, and no, it is not a science fiction movie. This story is actually based on records of the naval force of the Soviet Union. In fact, the records recount several situations in which Russian K-222 submarines frequently detected unidentified submerged objects, i.e. OSNIs, the aquatic variant of UFOs. But there is a particular case that really attracts more attention because there is not a reasonable explanation. During a nuclear submarine mission in the South Pacific Ocean, the submarine's radar detected 6 objects that were sailing in formation and at an incredible speed of more than 230 knots. That means 430 kilometers per hour, a speed so high that even today no submarine can reach. The puzzling thing is that the most advanced submarine of the time was the K-222, which barely reached the speed of 44 knots, that is 81 kilometers per hour. Yuri Beketov, the captain of the submarine, noticing that the 6 objects were approaching his submarine incrementally, ordered to come back to the surface. But nobody expected that those strange objects would also come out along with them, and much less that they flew into the infinity and beyond. Number 1. 4 submarines which disappeared the same year. And finally, the honorable mention that we cannot miss. The year 1969 was strange, since it took 4 different submarines to the bottom of the sea without any explanation. The first 2, the Soviet submarine K-129 and the US submarine USS Scorpion, disappeared without a trace. The other 2, the French submarine Minerva and the Israeli Dakar, sank in the Mediterranean just 4 days apart. The Dakar was found 31 years later on the seabed near the island of Cyprus. The Minerva, on the other hand, was never found, and that is known to have sunk just 40 kilometers from the port. To serve inside a submarine, you need to have nerves of steel. Not everyone can bear the claustrophobia from being locked up in such a narrow place, submerged in abysmal depths. Imagine for a moment what the crew must have felt in any of the cases previously mentioned. Do you want to know more stories? Here is a video where we will talk about submarines that were attacked by sea monsters.